Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the White Knuckle Podcast, episode number 21. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning back into the White Knuckle Podcast, episode number 21. Today, I have a couple of guys with us, in addition to Todd, that probably need no introduction if you spent any time watching any kind of outdoor television. Shawn, Luchtel, and Mike Hunsucker from Heartland Bowhunter. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the White Knuckle Podcast. Today, Todd and I are feeling pretty lucky. We're feeling pretty lucky because we've got a couple of guests in Shawn and Mike from Heartland Bowhunter. We've watched that show over the course of the years and developed a sincere, deep respect for those guys and what they do. So with that, Mike and Shawn, how are you guys doing today?
Hey, man, doing good.
Doing great.
Well, that's great to hear. Todd, are you alive?
Yeah, one of these guys over the years, the Heartland Bowhunter team, I've always kind of respected in a big way, just because I feel like they kind of changed the way the industry really was going and kind of set the tone, I think, for a ton of different TV shows that have come out since. And I think that's in a positive way, because it feels like, or at least to me, when I first started watching Heartland Bowhunter, and when they came out, they had just a different look and feel that was so much more cinematography-like, a lot more nature type footage, and it just had a different feel and a look to it. So I've always been really impressed with it, and it was amazing how much you guys have really influenced the industry. And I mean, there's been a million imitators that have basically, in my opinion, kind of knocked your guys' concept off. But, you know, I guess the greatest form of flattery is imitation, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. So how did you come up with, I guess in the beginning, Michael, I knew you guys were kicking this around for a while. How did it all come to be?
Well, Shawn and we actually grew up together, basically went to high school together, and started hunting and filming, and just basically got obsessed with it. Like, we started doing it for fun, just with friends, you know, and family, and just to share our videos. And we got more and more serious, and we just wanted to show more about, like, you know, what all the hunt entails, and not just a bunch of kill shots, which is what was kind of being done even on TV shows that you know, as Shawn and I, as amateur videographers, were kind of like, how is that like a TV show? Just a bunch of kills put together. That's not what hunting is really about. And I don't know, we kind of felt like, you know, we went to school with a lot of people and had a lot of friends that maybe didn't necessarily hunt, but we wanted to be able to, like, show them why we hunt. It's not about the kill, as you guys know. There's so many other things that go into it. So that was kind of how it all came about. And we were like, man, I think there's an opportunity for us to really tell a story about, you know, because especially because we're bow hunting only, you know, kind of tell that story about how, you know, because it's such an intimate sport and there's so much more required than just going out there and hoping to get lucky. I mean, if you're wanting to be successful on a regular basis, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And so we kind of wanted to show that and document that. And that was kind of the beginning there. We just like, man, I think there's an opportunity for us to do something different that hasn't been done, which in the hunting industry, you guys have been around long enough to know that, you know, that's the key is having something different, because there is a lot of imitation. There's a lot of stuff going on in the industry that when one person is successful doing some sort of concept, a lot of other people try to do that same concept instead of just coming up with their own concept. So, I mean, I think that, you know, being innovative and trying to come up with something new is always the key to success in the industry. And we were fortunate enough to kind of see that opportunity and kind of run with it.
No, and actually, it's kind of the same way in any business. You really look at it. You know, our product, your product, and my product in the world of TV or web shows and whatnot. You know, the product is the show itself. But same thing with any product design or any manufacturing of any kind. If you just do what everybody else does, it's considered a commodity, and you're going to have to compete in different ways than quality. And I've never even wanted to try to go in that direction, and I feel like you guys are kind of the same types of people. But Michael, you were kind of like the crazy camera guy who, like, really got into the technical stuff. How did you get your experience in filming? Was it something you just learned as you went, or did you actually go to school for it?
Yeah, no, neither one of us went to school. None of us went to school for it at all. Shawn and I actually went to college together as well, and we're business majors in entrepreneurship. So we were studying business, not studying film. So I think more than anything, it was just, just picking it up as we went, learning and watching, other films, big budget, high end films and kind of applying some of that stuff that we would see. And we were just obsessed with figuring out how people got those different shots and how they captured different things and how they told stories. And I think that just kind of motivated us, and we just kind of learned by experience.
Well, I've always appreciated it because as a camera guy, and Jason the same way, we've been out doing this stuff as well, and know how long it takes to set up some of these shots you guys do. I don't even know how you do it. You're way more, you're far more technical than myself, but I appreciate it because the quality is absolutely phenomenal, and it has been. And you guys, when you started out, it wasn't like we had drones and all this technical stuff or all this equipment, GoPros and stuff. I mean, for the most part, most of that new technology has made things a lot easier. But is there one thing that you've picked up in the later part of these last seasons, a piece of equipment or a technique or something that has changed dramatically? Or have you guys kind of stayed along the same course?
We're always trying to. Oh, go ahead, Shawn.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, yeah, we've just tried to basically come up with creative shots more than anything. Not necessarily a piece of equipment, but just shots that look completely different than anything we've shot or anyone else has shot previously in the hunting world. I would say that's probably our number one thing that we try to basically take into the field, or thought process we try to take into the field when we're out there shooting stuff.
I guess the one thing that I've noticed from watching it as long as I have is the shots that you guys do have make, I guess, the viewer feel a lot closer to the action than what you do on most other shows.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole idea, is to really pull the viewer into the content, into the video, and not be distracted and not feel like they're not a part of it. And so like Todd said, technology has changed so tremendously over the past 10 years that it's gotten way better and way easier to be creative and to get these more unique shots, especially with the advent of like smaller cameras and DSLRs. I mean, Shawn can tell you about, when we first got started, we were filming with bigger video cameras, and he actually built a track dolly system for that camera that, was a big piece of plywood basically on skateboard wheels that would roll on PVC pipe, and like that, you can't take that anywhere. Like it's super impractical. And, now you got little tiny DSLRs that you can put on a slider and take it up a tree with you or do whatever. But like Shawn said, it's not necessarily about one technique or one piece of equipment. It's really about utilizing it all and not overusing any of it to where it's, a distraction. It's really just the whole idea is it's got to feel good and feel right and not be a distraction.
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head there too. Is a lot of it's just creativity. I think there's a lot of guys out there who think that you got to have 15 cameras rolling at the same time, and it's like sometimes simpler is better, especially for people who don't have the experience with it. But the creative stuff is where you guys excel. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You've got a different look and feel that you've created that it works, and it works not only with the show, but it works with your personalities too, and that's a big part of it. Sometimes I think, in the process of trying to create a successful business, sometimes you try to force things, and man, if you're forcing it, it doesn't work. It never does. And you just got to have a little bit of intelligence and be willing to put the work into it. But who out of the two of you guys is there one person in the group that's like the creative force, or do you guys all kind of share those responsibilities?
I think we all kind of share it. We all are looking for new, fresh ideas all the time, and inspiration, and we all work as a team just to share our just anything that we've found on the internet or something we've seen in a movie or television, whatever it may be, and we just work as a team to basically collaborate and make our production even better.
That's pretty modest of Shawn, but yeah, Shawn's definitely got more of a creative eye than I do. I got to work for it a little more than he does. So, modest answer, but yeah, definitely. Well,
you definitely have to learn your roles. I know with Kyle, I thankfully I've been fortunate to where I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. He pretty much puts it together, but we've worked together for so long, it's become second nature now. But I guess in the future for what you guys are planning on doing, I know you guys currently do the Heartland Bowhunter show, which is on the Outdoor Channel, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then you guys also do Full Strut, which is on Carbon TV.
Yeah, we just got a new season that's airing right now. It's a turkey hunting miniseries on Carbon TV, and then we also do a big game miniseries called Behind the Draw. It's on Carbon TV that airs in the fall. So outside of the TV show, as digital has gotten so much bigger, we've been trying to kind of cast our net a little further and just have content out there for everybody, because content is king and people want more and more of it, and they're all consuming it in different ways. And so we have the flagship TV show, which is our main product, and then we have these two digital mini series that are both going into their fourth season. So we've been doing it for 4 years in partnership with Carbon TV. So between those three different series, we put out 26 different original episodes and a lot of content.
Well, after watching, I think I'm on episode 5 or 6. I'm not sure. I can't remember the fella's name who's laying in the field, and I think there's 3 toms that come running in, and he's just laying there in a layout blind, and I'm going, well, this is not going to work. And he just it was almost, it reminded me of Rambo when he's got getting in the mud up against the wall, and whoever the guy is in the layout blind just sort of slowly, cryptically sits up and draws his bow back and snuffs the life out of that turkey. It was incredible footage. I don't know that he'll ever pull that off again, but that was awesome. For anybody who hasn't seen that, you should definitely look that up. You guys could probably speak to which episode that was. I don't recall exactly which one it was, but that was Todd. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was our friend Ty. He loves to try different stuff like that, and he's actually done it a couple times. And he's failed obviously a few different times as well, just because you're popping up out of the grass and they see you. But now he's kind of figured out that you wait until they strut away from you and pops up and shoots them. But yeah, it's definitely different, and has to be an adrenaline rush. I haven't tried it myself, but they're typically pretty close, and just being on the ground like that close to them out in the wide open has to be a heck of an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, man, turkeys are funny. That's why I love hunting turkeys so much, because it's just, you never know. I mean, they can be so frustrating and so difficult, and then they can just literally be in the right mood and just be crazy and jumping all over the decoy, and you could be right there and they have no clue. So it's fun.
That's probably the coolest aspect of what I enjoy about turkey hunting the most. I'm the world's worst turkey hunter. I suck really badly and know nothing about them. But I tell you, when you've got them at 5 yards and they are completely on display and their heads bright white, and dude, the colors and the sounds, there is just nothing else like it. It's the most intense moment of, it's insane. Like, I love whitetail hunting just as much, but there is something about a big tom coming right in on you that is so unique and different that is just, it's mind blowing, man. It makes you want more and more and more. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
You heard it here, folks. The world's worst turkey hunter who killed the #1 world turkey record.
That's how it works, man. Better lucky than good, I guess.
Yeah.
Todd, tell us all the truth. How many mornings have you actually gotten up before sunrise to go turkey hunting yourself?
Alone?
Yeah.
Oh, I can count on one hand. I like to say I'm more of an afternoon turkey hunter. I hate getting up. I hate getting up in the mornings for the rut, let alone for turkey season. But I actually have a turkey related question for you guys. I am certainly not the type of person. I just don't put the time in. I mean, that's just the honest truth. Part of what I actually do like about turkey season is after going through a season of whitetails and the trade show circuit and everything else, I like to just go have fun. So when I am out turkey hunting, my mindset is I'm out here to have a good time. I don't really prep too much. I shoot my bow once usually before I go. And that's it, so to speak. But I just don't have a very good feel for patterning turkeys. I'll be honest. 1 week I hunted I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and I have a cornfield that's got corn laying everywhere from this past season because we just didn't have a very tough winter. And the first couple times I hunted it, there were toms all over the place, turkeys all over the place. I had my buddy down last week, and we hunted the same area and saw virtually nothing, didn't even hear a gobble for 3 days. What do they work like a circuit similar like whitetails where, they'll be in an area for a period of time and then be in a different area? I kind of always assumed if they roosted in one area, they're going to keep roosting there and maybe just be going off in different directions to feed on different foods or whatever. What can you tell me about patterning turkeys, or give me some feedback or tips on?
Yeah, I think, something that we were talking about this year that we've noticed is that a lot of the properties that we hunt, there's specific spots where birds roost, and they roost in the same spot every single year right there, almost always. And a lot of that has to do with us not pressuring them, not hunting the roost, and that type of stuff. But I mean, they definitely have these areas and these trees, and there's I don't know what it is about each setup, the right tree over the right creek or whatever. But they definitely have the preferred areas where they roost every single year over and over. But we have had them. We definitely have had them move around. Move around from time to time and not be in a spot. And they definitely, depending on the time of year, will move. They'll winter somewhere else potentially when they get all flocked up, and then when they split up in the spring, it's different. So, and it depends on where you're at too. Out west, the birds are a lot more grouped up because there's less trees and that type of stuff. And in Missouri, we got a lot of timber, a lot of trees. So once we get good into the season, it seems like our toms tend to break up and go out on their own. You get a lot of more isolated birds. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the case. They definitely like preferred areas year after year.
Do you, in a general turkey life, like here in Iowa, we've got a pretty good mix of, agriculture from corn to beans and then everything in between, as well as a bunch of timber. The day and the life of a turkey, do they spend a certain percentage of the time generally in the timber versus in the fields, or vice versa?
I think a lot of it's temperature related. Once it gets warm, they're a black bird, so they're gonna move back into the timber. But if it's cool or cloudy out or something like that, they'll typically spend more time out in the field. And then when it rains, I would never want to be a turkey, but for the most part, it seems like they just go out into a field and stand there.
Well, we did an interview with Jeff. What's his last name? Jeff Frederick, who is a world champion turkey caller, and he was talking about hunting in the rain. He's like, if it's raining, I'm out hunting because they can't distinguish a real decoy or a real turkey from a decoy because it screws up the lighting and the effervescence or whatever the UV.
Uh-huh.
And so he was saying like a wet decoy is like, it'll kill a turkey every time. Like he said if it's raining, he's out hunting no matter how hard it's raining. So there must be something to it.
He obviously hasn't got a couple $1,000s worth of cameras with him though either.
That's right. really enjoy killing them too, because if a turkey's wet, we a lot of times wouldn't even hunt because we're like, man, I want to call them in and get them strutting and gobbling and all that. And typically in the rain, they don't tend to do that. But I totally get it if you're into it that much. That's.
And he is. He's been all about turkeys ever since I grew up with him, and that's where I learned to call turkeys. And turkeys has been what he's done for as long as I can remember. I mean, he'll archery hunt a little bit and hunt with a gun a little bit, but by and large, he's chasing turkeys when the season is open.
Yeah.
Mike, you just recently went on a bear hunt. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I just got back from Alaska, Kodiak Island, on one of the most, once in a lifetime hunt for me. It's been a bucket list hunt, kind of been on my bucket list for a long time. I didn't really think it was going to happen as quickly as it did. But actually a friend of Shawn and I's, it's funny how small of a world it is, but a friend of Shawn and I's from high school, right after high school, moved up there. His aunt and uncle lived out in Kodiak, and he moved up there and started guiding and became a full-time guide and outfitter. And actually, Shawn and I went up there 4 or 5 years ago and did a blacktail hunt with him. And just to go up there, we hadn't been up there yet, and just kind of experience it all. And his brown bear are kind of his go-to thing that he does and enjoys the most. And we talked about it, of course, how we'd love to get back up there and do a hunt. And we were actually out west at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City this year, and we were talking with Cole and our buddy from Kodiak, and he actually had a spot opened where a guy had to back out of a hunt this spring, and so it was kind of a last-minute deal. We threw together. We had to get approval from the refuge and from the native lands for the film permits and all this stuff. It was a big process, but we got it all done, all put together last minute, and sure enough, we were heading out there. So I got out there. Let's see, it was about a month ago. It's been almost a month now. So we had basically 15 days to hunt, and so we fly in, get all set up and everything, and we were hunting the next day. And first day we see a big bear actually off in the distance, call him in, and or we sneak up to him and then call him in. Almost pulled it off on the first day, and I was kind of like hesitant. I was like, man, I don't want to be done, with this hunt already, but it was a big bear, and he was like, man, this is a big bear. Like, these opportunities don't come around all the time, and so it worked out perfectly, and he came right in, but he just didn't give me a good shot, and ended up kind of spooking off. So, like I said, we had 15 days to do it. I didn't think it would take that long, but we had 15 days if we needed them, and 11 days later, we finally were making our second or third stalk of the hunt. It was a slow hunt. It's one of those deals where you just kind of, we would go up in glass and just kind of watch this whole valley. We could see, 3 or 4 or 5 miles in all directions, and you just spend a ton of time glassing because they have such good smell that you just don't want it to be tracking all over the place. If a big mature boar comes across your trail, he'll blow out of the area. So. It's a patience game. So we sat there and glassed for 12+ hour days for 11 days straight. And on day 12, we finally caught up with one and made a stalk, and it all worked out. So I tell everybody it was one of the most boring and most intense hunts all in one.
As soon as I saw pictures, I was so jealous, man, because of all the big game animals in the world, I really only care about, I really want to go on a brown bear hunt in Alaska, just like what you did. And then Cape buffalo would be another one, because I imagine both of those animals, especially a bear, man, being at full draw on something that can come and tear you in half has to be about as good as it gets, and probably as scary as it gets too.
Yeah, man, it was intense. When he came in and got to 12 yards, that's when I shot him at 12 yards. I was like, ooh, it was a little intense. But of course, Cole had a gun with us too. But it's definitely a weird feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine. What you mentioned? You call them in. How do you call a bear?
So we used just like a fawn in distress call. So like a deer distress call. And actually that this past winter, they had a really, really bad winter, had a really bad deer die off and deer kill. And so they were all, we saw a bunch of dead deer all over the tundra, and that was kind of their main food source. So, you basically just got to get close, within range to where, to where you're close enough to where they almost have to come check you out. They're curious enough, and they come in. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's
crazy. And they still have. I mean, you're talking what kind of a body weight does this thing have? As just walking around?
The springtime they're a little lighter. Obviously, having not eaten this stuff all winter. We would guess the bear I shot was probably around 800 pounds. But they get to up to 1,500 pounds, like the big ones do in the fall. Like the biggest ones, 13 to 1,500 pounds probably. So they're giant. They're huge. The bear that I shot was a 9-foot bear, which is a pretty good sized boar. And they do that by averaging the wingspan, and then averaging the wingspan with the measurement from the nose to the tail. So it's nose to the tail. He was 8 feet, wingspan 10 feet.
Wow, man. Well, just unbelievable, dude. Yeah. I can only imagine. They're pretty smart. Well, I don't honestly know a dang thing about bears, but from what I understand, they're pretty smart animals, but kind of like more curiosity wise. But if they catch human scent and they see a human and can, put 2 and 2 together, they're afraid of humans, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't believe that, how spooky they would be of crossing our trail. But we figured it out because that first day we went after that bear, and and we almost killed that one the very first day. And the days after that, the next 3 or 4 days, we didn't get any rain, and it was no question that there was bears that weren't. I mean, there was no bears using that valley. We saw some like kind of come out, kind of spook out a little bit, and so there was no question that they were able to pick up our scent trail, which is just hard to believe. I mean, you think whitetails have a good nose, and you talk about bears, it's a whole other story.
Yeah, they're even supposed to be more powerful, are they not?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like way more.
Good gravy. That's got to be tough, man. If just knowing what I know about whitetails and their ability to smell, especially for a period of time, depending on weather conditions and things like that. But yeah, that's got to make it pretty tough to hunt. And that's why I suppose you go with the right people, because that's not the type of hunt you can just go wing. I can expect.
Yeah, exactly. Cole's done it a lot, and he's done a lot of bow hunts too, because it's, you know how it is. It's a whole different story bow hunting than it is gun hunting.
Yeah, I can't. No, I mean, dude, you shoot one, I gotta imagine there's a chance it can come straight at you.
You know, with a bow, it tends to, you know how, I mean, it's like getting a broadhead's almost like a razor blade. If you ever cut yourself with a razor blade, you know, you don't even feel it. You're like, oh man, I cut myself really bad. Wow. And so like the bear, you know, they don't feel the impact of the arrow, but they hear the bow go off. And so I think that spooks them to where you know, they kind of run the opposite direction. So when I shot him, he turned away and ran the other way, as opposed to a bullet. You know, a bullet that expands. You know, if they're coming into a call and they think another bear is on the deer, and you shoot them with a bullet and it expands, they feel that force and they might think it's another bear, you know, trying to attack them or whatever, and then they might charge that direction. But yeah, that all crossed my mind when he was standing there at 12 yards, and I was like, no matter how good a shot I make, it doesn't matter. Like, he could still like run us over on his way out. But
oh my gosh, dude, it looks like a dandy. Are you going to get him mounted, full body mount?
I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. I was thinking I was going to do a rug. I keep saying this is a once in a lifetime hunt, but I feel like, I mean, I'm only 30 years old, so I feel like I'll probably end up going back again. And this is a really good bear, really mature boar. But I don't know. I might go back and just be a little more selective. Even who knows?
Well,
that's a big animal. I don't know where I'd even put
it. yeah, that's no joke, right? Well, what is the process to get tags and stuff for those? I mean, is it something that you can get, you know, if you have the money to pay for the tags, or do you have to put in for a tag, like a lottery?
So yeah, non-residents have to hunt with a guide. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So the only way for you for non-resident to get a license is to buy it through an outfitter. And outfitters have they have their units, their own units essentially, to where they're the only outfitter in that unit. And then not actual Alaska residents can draw a tag, so they can put in for a draw, and then they can hunt anywhere on the island without a guide. But they can also hire a guide. So it just kind of differs. But yeah, the only way to hunt as a non-resident is through an outfitter.
Would you say, Mike, that actually it's a question for both of you. Out of all the hunts that you guys have done, and I know you start typically your season out in North Dakota, chasing mule deer or whitetail, whatever the case may be. What do you guys look forward to the most?
Yeah, I mean, this was, like I said, this was a special hunt that, like I said, I always looked forward to and wanted to do. But I mean, I still, for me, like whitetail hunting is still my go-to, my favorite thing to do, no doubt. But as we hunt more and get to travel around and do more hunts, I mean, it's always exciting to do new stuff, new adventures. And so, we've been doing a little bit more mule deer hunting, a little bit of elk hunting over the past few years. Just something, a little bit different. Seasons are different, and it's just fun. Like I said, it's always fun to go to new places and experience new hunts and different stuff. So Shawn's been going out to Utah and doing a do-it-yourself backcountry hunt the past few years, and I know that that's a hunt that he likes a lot and really enjoys, because it's just for us, I think it's really all about the challenge, and the more challenging the hunt and the more work and effort and time you put into it, the more rewarding it is. So I think that's why I enjoy whitetail hunting so much, is because it's not just you can't just, well, if you live where Todd does, you can just go out back and shoot a giant every year, but no. No, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, it just takes a lot of work, and every deer that we kill, there's just hours and hours and hours and hours of time and effort, and even when you think you got it made, it's going to be easy. We've been humbled. So it's pretty exciting. It's always a new exciting adventure.
Now, when you guys are hunting whitetails, you're hunting your own ground, right? Down in Missouri?
Yeah, typically, unless we're out of state. But yeah, for the most part, if we're in Missouri, it's ground that either my dad owns or we have leased. So yeah, we pretty much have control of everything that we're hunting in Missouri. As far as other hunters being on there typically isn't an issue. So we're trying to manage our herds the best to our ability and just kill older mature bucks and obviously manage the doe ratio as well.
Well, and it seems like you guys kind of have the perfect mix of being able to challenge yourself with whitetails in your own backyard, and then from the filming and storytelling standpoint, you're constantly going out and doing some new adventures. So that's got to make the editing process and the storytelling process a lot more fun, because it can get a little redundant at times. When you're doing the whitetail stuff, it's like, oh, gee, here comes another season of doing food plot footage, and so sometimes, there's parts of that stuff I love to just beat the death out of. And then there's other parts of it where I wish, I did have that one trip a year where I went someplace else and filmed something different just for an adventure, if nothing else. But there's got to be a lot of interesting travel stories with all these trips you guys go on, because that's one aspect I think not too many people think about. I just know from just the business side of doing all the trade shows and everything we do, it's like once you're at the show and you're all set up and people are starting to come around, the show is open, then it's fun. But getting there sucks, and tearing down sucks, and everything traveling and whatnot to get to these places. I can't imagine, with all the filming equipment and everything, how many guys do you typically have to have along to do a production, I guess?
Typically 2 is ideal. If there's 3, it's even better. Those trips are far more better because we try to obviously get as much footage as we can to tell the story, but at the same time, we're trying to get a lot of photography as well. So that can be a huge task. And if it's just 2 guys on the trip, that makes it really, really hard to capture all of that. So on a big adventure hunt, definitely 3 people is what we would like to have, just because the more content we can bring home, the better.
Well, I can imagine you guys have to go through some footage every year, huh?
Yeah. Our editors do, but yeah, it's a long process.
We've gotten more efficient, though, I think, as we go. When we first started kind of filming and trying to tell different stories, we were kind of just shooting everything, so we had everything, and then we cut it down, and now we kind of know what we need and what we don't need, and we're a little more efficient, I guess. So
we've kind of gotten to the same point now where I do a lot of self filming and stuff like that, so I know what shots we need to tell the story, and I don't waste time or tape filming a bunch of crap for 20 minutes when you're only going to use 30 seconds of it. So I think that's one of the things, being an editor. I'm not an editor, but just being in the process for so long, I remember we used to do the same thing. And I just had Jared from Whitetail Adrenaline come down just for a fun hunt, and he came out and filmed me, and I was like, you seriously bring this stuff out in the field and try to hunt with it? Like, he was filming from the time I walked out the door until it was unbelievable. 4 cameras running. I was just like, dude, how do you even edit this stuff? Good gravy, man. So I guess that's where I'm a little simpler. I like to do things straightforward and simple, and just tell a good story. And I'll tell you, that's half of the battle, is just telling a good story, and keeping your fans entertained without just, redundancy. Redundancy is what makes most shows suck.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying, Todd, about bringing all that stuff and doing it every time. It definitely takes a toll on us, because just like this past week, I was with one of our producers, Brandon, turkey hunting, and I killed a bird, and I want to go recover him and find him and this and that. He went right over the hill. I couldn't see him right after I shot him. But we have to shoot all this stuff. And then same with the recovery. When I get him, we're filming all this other stuff. Then we're taking pictures. It's like, it was like 2 hours after I shot him before we were actually back at the house because of all the stuff that we're shooting. And it's definitely, it's a lot of work. But it's rewarding in the end.
Yeah. You gotta take yourself away from all that and really enjoy it, and kind of enjoy the moment when it happens. So, because it is a lot of work surrounding all that.
And it happens fast, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So fast.
That's what always boggles my mind too. You all the work and time and prep, especially for whitetails, and then all of a sudden you're like, did that really just happen? And I think that's the one thing we're all very, very lucky to have gotten into the industry and started filming our hunts, because it's something I imagine someday when I have kids, that I can't wait to show them, some of the early footage and just, you can capture those moments forever, moments that happen so quickly that before I started filming, I just would remember, especially on deer you didn't get, back in the early days, and you're like, where did I hit it? Did I hit it exactly where I thought I did? And I don't know, filming, it definitely adds a heck of a lot of work to it. But once you get used to that process and it becomes a part of the process, I guess, it isn't nearly as bad. But I kind of got away from the camera guy stuff so much because the challenge of self-filming kind of is my thing. I enjoy doing like a lot now. That's kind of turned into my new passion. Do you guys ever do any self-filming, or are you 100% all the time running camera guys?
Yeah, we always have someone with us. And I give you props, man. The self-filming game is very, very tough. I couldn't imagine that. It's nice being able to either do one thing or the other, but doing both, like, oh man, that would really twist my mind because I wouldn't. It's so easy to, focus on one thing and forget about the other. So it's nice when you have one job, like just either hunting or filming, because you're focused on that one thing. But if you had both aspects, it's got to be a lot of work.
Well, Todd has done a good job of documenting the struggles of the self-filmer. This Thursday we'll be releasing his turkey hunting footage, and I watched it yesterday and I just went, oh my God. Todd, how many times do you think you drew back?
7 times. The 8th time I actually got to shoot.
And he keeps like keeping his bow at half draw and then trying to nudge the camera with his left elbow. And I'm just going, boy, that arrow's going to sail right through the top of the blind at any point in time. It never did. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. As long as we've got you two guys who clearly are extremely successful in the field that you're in, and do a great job. What makes in your eyes a good team member for Heartland Bowhunter? We're going through the process right now, and I've been tasked with finding a couple new team members. But what is it that you guys look for? What are the qualities that make? Because this is not everybody's cut out for this. What makes a good person for this business?
I was just say for us, it's more production driven. Obviously, that's kind of our go-to, our bread and butter is the high quality production level of the show. And we get inquiries all the time about people wanting to be part of the show, join the team, and but more than that, really, I mean, HB is basically a group of friends. Like, we're all friends that have hunted together and been together. And sorry, there got a phone call coming through. But we're a group of friends that have hunted together for a long time, known each other for a long time, and more than anything, that's what it's about. And we all are hanging out. When we're not hunting together, we hang out together, and we're always spending time together. So obviously, we do look for guys that know how to tell a story, that can film and produce. And that's kind of the cool thing is all of our guys, none of our guys are just hunters. We don't just hunt all. We all run the camera, we all film. And like Shawn and I used to film each other. Up to a couple of years ago, used to film each other exclusively, just the two of us. We were kind of a team, I guess. And so that's how most of our team is set up, and it's kind of nice. It works out really good because being behind the camera, you kind of understand everything that needs to be shot, and it kind of helps drive and motivate each other when we're doing both roles. Yeah,
I think another thing as well, kind of based off what Mike just said, is location. Being close to our group of guys helps out tremendously. I think that if we had other team members that were across the country, that would be very tough, because we have such a tight knit group that we're all here close to each other, and we talk pretty much every day, and everyone's kind of in the loop on what's going on. And if we had someone that was across the country, that would be extremely hard, just for communication purposes and relationships and stuff like that.
Well, I think you guys have just established a really cool niche, because it is kind of a tight group of guys that you know, it comes across in everything you guys do, that you guys are a tight group of guys who've been friends together for a long time. And it's not just, you know, some business, or in the case of, hey, we want to have 50 guys on our teams that we're guaranteed 20 kills a year, or whatever that is. And I think I've always respected that you guys were bow hunters, and did at least primarily, you know, most of all your stuff is bow hunting, because when you draw that line in the sand and you commit to doing bow hunting only, you're taking the hard road, man. It's not easy. And especially from the whitetail management standpoint, if you're a gun hunter, it makes things a lot easier, because you can spread your season out and you can fill tags, and a lot of times fill tags on bucks that need to get out of the herd, but are just tough nuts to crack with a bow. And so making that commitment, and I've always stuck to my guns on it too, because that's just me. I just love the flight of the arrow and that challenge. And it's a different mindset. You have to have a completely different mindset as a hunter. And I mean, I'm friends with a bunch of guys who have some killer ground, and you know, if you have gun season coming up, you're never going to hunt as aggressive with a bow, because you always know you're going to have the gun season to fall on to kill a deer out in a food plot. You know, I mean, there's a lot of factors that are involved, but let's face it, food plots, late season with a gun, your odds are way, way greater than trying to do it with a bow. And so I applaud you for it. And I'm super excited that you guys have stuck to your guns all these years and continue to promote bow hunting in the way that you have, and you haven't taken the easy road out.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. That's, like I said, it gets back to all that, even like the self-filming you're talking about. It's like the challenge is why we do it. I mean, that's why it's fun, and that's why it's exciting, and that's why it's so rewarding.
And I honestly think it's harder to kill a big mature deer with a cameraman than it is to self-film one. That's honestly why I do it.
You must be hunting with some stinky dudes.
Oh, dude, you should see where we got to get to just to get into these spots to kill these bucks around here, man. It's tough to do with two dudes, and then you got two. You know, some of the trees for self-filming, I cannot get another camera, or I can't get another stand in the tree. I mean, there's no way. So you kind of restrict where you can hunt. But now I kind of have all my spots set up so that I've got spots that I just won't self-film out of, because the deer can come from any direction. So I like to control it. Like if I have spots where I know will be great self-filming spots, and then I have other spots that I wait for Kyle to come down, wait for the right conditions, and then we go in and hunt those. But I love being adaptable, and the other cool part is, because I hunt right in my backyard here, I'm able to, you know, if a cold front moves in, I don't have to wait for the camera guy to get into camp. And the other part of it is, with a camera guy, you know, hunting, you're going to be hunting full time, because you're paying somebody to be there filming you. You're not going to say, well, the weather's not quite right, I'm not going to hunt this morning. So it's kind of allowed me to back off in a lot of cases, and that's killed a lot of deers for me over the years now, is just knowing when to hold off and not hunt, and when to make your move. And if you have to coordinate that around camera guys and all that, you're definitely adding additional challenges and stresses too, man. I mean, this is all a business at the same time. So you've got to pay your bills, and you've got to, you know, send your product out the door, and all these different elements a lot of people don't think of when they see your final edited product. But, you know, there's you got to do a lot of balancing, and you guys specifically, holy crap, running all the shows you guys are running, all the deadlines I can imagine for episodes and sponsorship stuff. I mean, it's a lot of work. And so I applaud you. You guys are killing it, man, on all levels. And that's takes a heck of a lot of dedication and just pure work ethic.
No, man, we just hunt for a living.
I was just gonna say, you and Mike, you and Shawn, do you do this full time?
Yeah. So that's my favorite thing at the trade shows. Like, man, you guys just hunt for a living. I think it's a dream job, man, dream job. And obviously, it is a dream job for us what we do. But yeah, it's far more to it than what meets the eye, I guess, for a lot of people. And Todd just kind of covered a lot of it. But yeah, Shawn and I run the whole business, from the production company to our sponsorships, our social media. We do everything in house on our own. So it's never a dull moment. Never. we're more overwhelmed more often than not.
Is one of you the business person and the other the creative person?
Well, we both went to business school, so but I tend to handle most of the sponsorship stuff. Shawn handles a lot more of the social stuff and the photography stuff.
Well, and I just in the scale of what's been going on in business, and I'm dealing with it from on Wicked, Tree Gear, and White Knuckle over the years. But retail is changing. The way people buy products is changing. The way people watch our products is changing. Now everything's going on the web. So, how have you guys managed? You guys are on the Outdoor Channel, which is by far and above the best network to be on. But it's also probably the most challenging / expensive, so to speak. How are you guys, what's your 10-year outlook? Do you see it staying with the TV network for your main product, or do you think it's all going to be going web?
I think it's all going web. I'm sure Mike will agree with me. Just the digital world is blowing up, and it's just content driven. Whereas, TV's all on a time schedule and hook up to a box, and you can see it in the ratings. Ratings are dropping. People are getting rid of cable and going to the digital world and internet. So I see it going that way for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely changing and it's evolving. And, I see, I hear a lot of people talking about it and you see all the changes happening. And, but it's not happening it's not happening overnight. It's going to be something that's going to be, I actually thought it'd be happening quicker than it has. So, it's kind of something that's kind of slow and evolving and changing. And, the Outdoor Channel and Outdoor Sportsman's Group is a really big company. They obviously know way more than any of us know about what's going on and what's trending. And that's why we just try to kind of cover all bases. We try to have a really strong social presence. We are putting out a lot of digital content out there, whether it's the stuff we produce for Full Strut and Behind the Draw on Garmin TV, or we're going to be having a lot of our older episodes from Outdoor Channel on their digital service, My Outdoor TV, and still producing the original stuff for TV. So when you look at the numbers, digital isn't even close to what TV is still reach wise. But like I said, it's definitely changing, and it's definitely evolving. And we're like we always have, we're pushing to be on the forefront of it and make sure that that we're reaching as many eyeballs as possible, because that's in the end that's the end goal is to reach as many people as we can. So. There's no secret to it. That's kind of one of the things when we got started that we didn't like about hunting TV shows. It was just, kill, kill, kill. And then it was just plug, 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 sponsor, sponsor, sponsor. It's no secret. Like that's how we do what we do is with sponsors. Right. But just because they are supporting us doesn't mean you got to cram product down people's throat. And that's why, we kind of took the soft sell approach and we use products that we believe in and we show us using them, but we don't have to harp on them. We don't have to do a segment in the show talking about, details about the product. We use it, it works, and we support it. And it's been really well received by our partners, not only our partners, but also the viewers. So, that's kind of how we've made things work. And, that's the bottom line though. You gotta move the needle for partners. And, so like I said, we're just trying to reach as many people as possible and still, put out the product that we want to put out and not be constrained by any of that.
Well, I think you guys are doing it right, and we've kind of had the same philosophy, and I believe, and I think you guys know the truth of the matter as well, is that, those infomercial days are over, and they just don't sell products like they used to. There's way too many choices out there now, and so by supporting and using quality products, it makes our job easier because you don't have to sell it like an infomercial. You basically, all you have to do is show people who you are, what you use, and once they see what you're doing with it, they're going to want to use it as well because they know you guys are winners. You're going to use winning equipment, and you don't have to hard sell it. I think the people who hard sell are just in a position where they have no other choice, but you guys are not, and so you should be proud of that.
Well, as much time we spend so much time in the field. So, we're using and abusing stuff like crazy. So we obviously want the best stuff. We don't want to be using rinky dink stuff that doesn't work that great. Because some of that stuff might work okay for the average hunter, weekend warrior, but for us, we're in the field, 10, 20 times as much as that person. So, we need stuff that is reliable, durable, and doesn't fail. So.
Well, if you ever need anybody to test anything, I can break anything very quickly. So
I believe that.
Yeah, but I enjoy that aspect of it. But no, what if there's one thing that you guys want us to know about yourselves or your group outside of what we've talked about or the world of hunting? Is there anything that you'd like to point out or that you're passionate about other than, hunting and filming?
We don't have time for hobbies. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I love anything outdoors, but I like kind of my hobbies would be fishing and golfing. We kind of joke around and talk about, hey, when are we going to start doing a fishing show? Because a few years back we're talking about producing some other shows and then doing some more stuff, and so we actually started producing Heartland Waterfowl, which is kind of our sister show, and a couple local buddies of ours here in Kansas City kind of headed up for us, and we do all the post production work, and we've been working with them for 4 or 5 years now on kind of getting that all lined up. And so we kind of joke around about, hey, when are we going to do a fishing show? And that's it always kind of circles back to filming and telling stories, because that's really, I think,